Yorkshire. But with such a great side at Yorkshire in those days, and it was very, very difficult to get into the team. And I wrote for my release from Yorkshire because I couldn't get a regular place. And I went to Leicestershire, which was the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life. The reason it was a big mistake was at Leicestershire in those days, we were bottom of the championship. And it's very, very difficult to play in a struggling side. You can be the best player in the world. If I could turn the clock back, and you can't turn the clock back, I would never have left Yorkshire. I would have stayed at Yorkshire and carried on, Ralph, just playing in and out of the team.
But if he had done that, he wouldn't have found fame and fortune as the game's best-known umpire. And it was as an umpire that he became involved in some of cricket's great occasions.
I thought 1975 was probably the World Cup final. 1975, West Indies, Australia was the best match I've ever stood in, actually. I know it was a one-day, but it was probably the best game I've ever stood in. Australia only lost by 17 runs. And of course there was that funny incident at the end of that World Cup final, which I'll never forget as well, was the West Indies bus conductor who pinched my white cap when he came on the field. The crowd didn't hear no ball called, and they thought it was all over. They come on the field in there, thousands and thousands, and this big West Indies bus conductor, someone hit me at the back of the head. I came round and I could see him running with my white cap. I've got Mr. Dickie Bird's white cap. But the story goes that my car was off the road for some reason. I was umpired in Middlesex at Lords, and I got from the station, railway station, I got the bus up to the ground. This big West Indies bus conductor came round, first please, and I looked at him and he had this white cap on. I said, "Where did you get that white cap from, sir?" He said, "Haven't you heard of Mr. Dickie Bird, man?" He said, "This is one of his white caps. I am so proud."
Typically for Dickie, a good 3 hours early, he prepared to take his final bow.
I hope the sun shines on me today. It's shining on me today.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain.
White cap, famous white cap. She goes on for the last time.
Yes,
the last time.
It was.
I'll miss the players. I'll miss all my colleagues, all the umpires, telling cricket stories, having a laugh and a joke with the players. I'll miss all that. I'll miss it. No question. I'll miss it.
What are you going to do?
That's a good question. What am I going to do? Ralph, I don't know what I'm going to do at the moment. I'd like to be involved in some way, if it was possible, to help umpires. Try and make them mentally strong, believing in themselves, and being able to cope with massive appealing, which has crept into the game. But I'd love to be involved with the games in some capacity next year. I won't like to think that I'm going to be sat in a chair, because if I sit in a chair and I'm just going to be sat there, I tell you this, Ralph, I won't be around in 12 months' time.
Is it next April that you're really going to miss it?
Correct. That's a point. That's a good point, Ralph. That's when I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss it March. I'm going to start thinking. April, when the cutters come out and they're cutting the cricket fields, and there's the smell of the grass, and the players are reporting for April practices, and they'll be there practicing in the nets, and the umpires will be all getting ready for the season. That's when I'll miss it, mate. That's when it will hit me, and it will hit me hard.
Well, I'll tell you what, James, a lot of people will miss him. I mean, his book sold a phenomenal amount of copies, 360,000 copies, so he tells us.
Yeah, that's right. He's one of the hugely respected umpires in the world, isn't he? And highly popular with the players as well. He's always had a great rapport with the players. The players have found it easy to relate to him, to communicate. He's been brilliant in the dressing rooms, and all-round enthusiast, and really that's what it's about.
But apart from getting decisions right, that actually is the key, isn't it? Because you need umpires to understand how players operate. Absolutely right. It's essential that umpires communicate with the players, keep the ongoing messages flowing to the field, and Dickie was an expert at that, and that's why everyone really respects him. And he did get most decisions right too. He got a few right, yeah. No, he was a good umpire, very good umpire. I'll tell you what else has changed actually since then, since that film was shot. He's also got a new car. Spent some of the money he's made on the book on a nice new Jaguar, so he's now travelling in style. Now, returning to the topic of the Ashes, the England women contested the first Ashes trophy with the world champion Australian counterparts last month. Australia last toured England in 1987 and England haven't beaten them since 1985. Their battle this time round was witnessed by Helen Rollason.
It's been a memorable summer for women's cricket. Not only had the WCA merged with the ECB, but world champions Australia have been touring for the first ever Women's Ashes series. For one English cricketer, though, this summer was extra special. After 19 years in the game, Jan Brittin has decided to hang up her bat.
I think the hunger's gone from me, but you know, the determination was there to stick it out and try and get some sort of confidence back in sort of playing along innings and that sort of thing. So I think I've achieved that. So it's time to say the old bones and the broken bones need time to heal and do other things.
But Brittin was determined to go out in style, and she's been a linchpin this summer in a relatively young English side. Karen Smithies retained the captaincy for her 5th consecutive year, and 17-year-old Sarah Collyer, the all-rounder from Cheshire, got her first cap.
I wasn't really expecting to be in the side, I was just hopeful, and after the 3-day game had finished, the squad was announced and my name was on the list.
Australia brought a more experienced team, virtually unchanged from the side that won the World Cup last December. Captained by batswoman Belinda Clark, they boast the fastest women bowler in the world today, Catherine Fitzpatrick.
I think Fitz is just a natural. That's how she's always bowled. She's an aggressive person in herself, so that's how she plays her cricket. She's always wanted to bowl fast, and she does bowl fast.
And she punished England in the one-day series. Australia won the series 5-0. Belinda Clark batted superbly, and Lisa Keightley made the history books during the last one-dayer, scoring 113 to become the first woman to make a century at Lord's. A bat had been burned to mark the inaugural Ashes series. The two sides would compete over 3 test matches for the Ashes trophy. For one member of the England team, the Ashes series was to be even more significant. Despite a broken finger, Jan Brittin started the first test match only 6 runs short of Rachel Hayhoe-Flint's record for the highest number of test runs.
I broke the record down at Guildford in the first test match. I must confess that I didn't really know how far I was going into the match away from the record, but it was a wonderful feeling when suddenly everyone started clapping and I beat Rachel's test record for the highest test runs, I think, in women's cricket to date.
The test series produced some fine cricket. Britain went on to score a further 3 centuries, finishing the series with an aggregate of 450 runs. Joanne Broadbent became the first Australian woman to score a double century, and fast bowler Catherine Fitzpatrick took a total of 13 wickets. However, bad weather intervened, and despite efforts from both teams, the first Ashes series was drawn. But the captains were pleased with the way their sides had performed.
We're happy with the one-day series, getting the 5-0 result there. And the test series a little bit frustrating at times, and the weather wasn't kind to us this time when we were in a good position. But overall, we think we've played some good cricket, and we'll go home fairly proud of what we've done.
Thank you. For all of us, it's been very tough. We knew that. I thought the one-day series, the first 3 matches, they could have gone either way, just that we didn't punish their mistakes at the end of the day, really, which we should have done. You know, it's all a learning curve, learning process for most of us, and I'm sure the girls have learned from it all.
So as Jan Brittin bows out, the legacy she leaves behind is a strong foundation for women's cricket.
Well played, Jan. It's now time to give the result of our August competition. Last month we asked you to identify these 3 batsmen who in the 70s hit test hundreds against England at the Oval. They were...
winner is Mr Abdul Rashid of Wolverhampton, who's chosen a pair of Warwickshire season tickets for next year. Let's hope they all have a successful summer. Now, I'm sure that most of you already know that Goodwood is the home of the rules of cricket. The rest of us, like me, who were until now blissfully unaware of this, should pay attention to this report from Fiona Stephenson, who we sent racing off to the home of the Duke of Richmond.
There are 42 rules of cricket, all with a multitude of subheadings. Some of them are rather quirky.
And the signal there is 5, and the reason for the 5 is that Rodney Marsh wasn't able to get the glove on the ball until it hit that helmet.
It's enough to make you wonder who on earth thought them up.
Well, we're here at Goodwood House, a name which most of you would associate with either motor car racing or horse racing. But it was actually here that the rules of cricket were first written down by the second Duke of Richmond in 1727.
This fascinating document was drawn up 17 years before the actual rules of cricket were formalised. Some of them have a rather familiar ring. Rule number 5, catching out behind the wicket is to be allowed. Rule number 16, that it shall not be lawful to fling down the wickets and that no player shall be deemed out by any wicket put down unless the ball is in hand. Rule number 11, that there shall be one umpire of each side and that if any of the gamesters shall speak or give their opinion on any point of the game, they are to be turned out and voided in the match. Rule number 11 is not to extend to the Duke of Richmond. With such a history, it's not surprising that cricket has always had a place in the traditions of Goodwood.
This is the home of Goodwood Cricket Club, where it's been tradition for a match to be held between the drivers on the eve of a race meet at the famous Goodwood Circuit. No such match has been held here for 32 years, since the circuit closed for racing.
But with the famous circuit being reopened, the drivers' cricket match has also been revived. And while the cars are being readied, a Spitfire fly-past marked the start of the game. Racing legends Sir Jack Brabham and Dan Gurney were amongst the players. The umpire, Murray Walker.
I'll come and see fair play down your end.
Please do, yes.
Oh, that is run.
Cricket virtually started at Goodwood here, so it's a pretty old sport. And I'm a pretty old person, and it's a motor racing flavour, and I've got a lot of that in my veins. And they know how decent, honest and impartial I am. So if you put all that lot together, I'm an ideal candidate for it.
That's the Duke of Richmond's son's wicket, but will rule number 11 apply?
They overrode my umpire decision. So there's something a bit odd going on there, I think.
It's all in the rules, I think.
It's all in the rules, and I don't know what they are, so that doesn't help.
Don't worry, Murray, those rules no longer apply anyway, as cricket is now played according to the laws, as drawn up by the MCC. That's it for the summer. My thanks to James for coming in this evening, and once again, congratulations to him and his team on their championship success. I hope you've enjoyed watching this series of Gower's Cricket Monthly and everything we've managed to bring you. As far as the winter is concerned, you can, of course, tune in to England's winter exertions live on BBC Radio. And we hope to be able to bring you highlights here on BBC Television. From me, however, until next year, it's goodbye.